Welcome to the Free and Open Mind podcast, where we have individuals from all walks of life talk about authentic living and their journey to achieving and maintaining their authentic life. We stream live Fridays at around 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can see past episodes at thefreeandopenmind.com. I'm Hardy Brooklyn, a professional business and life coach. I help individuals that feel something just is not right figure it out, and how to correct it for a more rewarding, healthier, and wealthy journey through life. This is Stan Nelson.
G'day, Hardy. Yeah, I'm Stan. I'm from Perth, Western Australia, and I'm a moving forward coach. And Hardy, we're here to discuss some stuff that came up the other day about work. Do you want to give us a quick snapshot of what happened so our viewers can catch up with us?
Yeah, this is a quick snapshot of how I used boundaries in work to protect myself and my image as well as my time. I was requested to give a presentation in a public meeting with public request, written and verbal. Please give a presentation on this date at this location. There's a lot of information missing there when you're trying to give a presentation. So I asked my simple, basic questions instead of going to my difficult form because it was a simple presentation. And I asked things like time. How long am I going to present? What time am I going to present? What does my audience look like? Anything you would like to focus on. And I had to stay firm because after I sent that first request, I didn't get a good, valid response. I got a skirting around the answer. Ask the question again without changing my verbs or my nouns. And my next question was, why are you being difficult? Ask the questions again. Oh, just wing it. Why are you being difficult? Your questions are hard. Now, one of the things that's important in this example is that I stayed firm. I continued to use my words saying, I cannot present or commit to presenting unless I have this information. And,
Sounds like a reasonable request to me.
and what does that do for me as a business person? What does that do for me as an individual? And the first thing that came up was I called the location. I said, what time are you open? And what time do you have events booked? Well, we open at 6 a.m. and we close at 10 p.m. That's a big window for me to have to wait at a location if I'm not given a time. I'm also not given a length of the presentation. Can the presentation be 5 minutes or 2 hours? Because the presentation I was requested to give goes from 5 minutes to 2 hours.
And that's a big factor. I mean, are you bringing 5 slides or 55 slides, or how many flyers are you bringing?
And what this did, and by me firmly responding by saying, these are the questions I need answered before I can commit. What it did was it protected me so that it didn't look like I was dropping the ball. The person that was giving me the misleading information didn't occupy all my time. And they didn't put me in a situation where I show up ready to give a 30-minute presentation and I'm told you only have 7 minutes. Now I'm getting up in front of an audience. And what am I doing? I'm making the organization that I'm representing look bad. I'm making the content not be consistent. Because while I'm a very good speaker, it's really hard with 2 minutes to go to adapt a longer presentation that has a lot of very important data in it do a smaller presentation. And the last message I actually got was, it's too hard. I have not gotten any correspondence now for 2 days, which allowed me to A, free up the night to do other things, B, put myself in a situation now where when they are ready to have me present, I'm going to be the most amazing presenter they saw because I'm going to know how long, I'm going to know the audience, I'm going to know what they want me to focus on, and I'm going to know what time to show up, thus making me look good. And I'll have the right amount of slides.
And how important is boundaries in the workplace for time, money, and energy?
That conversation comes up all the time when we're talking about boundaries. How important are they in the workplace? Well, boundaries in the workplace are incredibly important if you value yourself and your own self care and your own happiness. If I didn't, if we don't value our time, boundaries in the workplace, people step on us all the time. It doesn't, it prevents you from seeing your family. It prevents you from doing the things you want to do. If you don't set good boundaries in the workplace, your vacations get overrun by work. Your son and daughter's christening, bar mitzvah, coming of age party get overrun and interfered with work. So by putting boundaries up in the workplace, it allows you to protect yourself and protect your personal time.
Now, we were discussing this the other day when it came up with your situation. And we also talked about some other boundaries, like, for instance, I know some coaches that got burnt when they didn't employ the boundaries about, filling in your coaching agreement, your questionnaire, paying your money and setting the schedule, and then they got a client in that did, 2 or 3 sessions and thought, I've got what I needed, I'm going to go now. But obviously the coach didn't get paid. And we were talking about it that we have boundaries and you have language specifically about people that work with you.
Yes. And when I'm setting a boundary or when I'm working with a new client, the first thing I outline for them is until we do the things that I need to do to make me comfortable for this relationship moving forward, we're not going to move forward. And by that means is that in coaching, I've learned that I need to get my money up front. So that's a boundary that I have. I don't work with people that are not willing to commit their time and their money to help improve themselves. And that's an important use of, sorry about
Bless you.
that. And that's an important use of words is I don't work with people that are not willing to commit to themselves. Because when I find that I have and that's a big boundary for me. Because as a coach or even as a therapist or a consultant, if you're trying to work with somebody that's not committing to yourself, you're going to be spinning your wheels. And it's going to be a lot harder step to get that first aha moment or get that focus. Because if we're not committing to ourselves, we're not showing up and being present. And by
And
using the
a lot of the boundary is just how you communicate it, like the language you use.
yes. So I don't start coaching with people that haven't finished all the paperwork. And I have a pretty long intake form. And people complain. Some people do, some people don't. The smart people say, "Ooh, you're making me think about all the hard stuff up front so that I so that I understand that this is going to be a valuable journey."
Yes.
Because what I'm doing is I have certain information that I need that if I get this information from you, it makes our journey more pleasant and enjoyable. And always using the wording is, I can't proceed. I am not comfortable. I need these things. When you're setting your boundaries, it's always about you. And it's not about putting a wall up. It's about either putting a filter in place or putting a fence that you can open and unlock. Because it's having a good boundary in work is about defining what you need to be able to help that person in their business goal or task and be successful to move forward.
And probably one of the big boundaries, especially for coaches, is around meetings, emails, and messages. Why would this be important, Hardy?
One of the things that I do is I set in my contract the amount of communication they can have with me. I am your coach. I am not your mother. I am your coach. I'm not the AI chatbot on your phone. I am your coach. I am not the recorder on your phone. Because when we're coaching people and when we're working with people, we need to protect our time. And we need to protect that in every method. So I last night had an event that I was working where I was emceeing the Moonscopes Self Connection version 2. That event started at 6 and finished at 2.
So if Hardy falls asleep, we all know why.
And throughout that meeting, I got a lot of communication from coaching clients, whether it's business or personal. Now, I was awake, I was functional, I could have responded to all those messages. But as a boundary or a life protection thing that I put around myself, I only answer coaching emails during business hours. And those
Fair enough.
hours are defined by me. So when I'm having my setting up the relationship with a client, if you text me outside of business hours, you're going to wait till the next day to get a response. You could text me 100 times. But when I'm working with my coaching clients, my text, my written communication, and my verbal communication is only between the times that we have pre agreed. And,
Sounds good.
and one of the things that I've done to help protect that boundary is all of those applications, I have a send later feature. So even if I wanted to respond to that message at 2 o'clock in the morning, that individual is not getting the response until the time window they're supposed to get it. And the reason behind that is if you start responding to people outside of the window, you have now created a filter or opened up a door to allow someone to violate your boundary. And you have to decide how much of that you want to allow.
And if you start doing that, you start sabotaging your productivity and even your well-being.
And
Now we're
once
coming to the kind of close of this. What sort of boundaries should people implement today that they could, you know, about their time and their money, could they do easily at this stage?
the first boundary that I have people start with is when you feel like you're going into a situation that is a waste of time, that you don't want to, that you don't have 100% of hell yeah in the work environment. And if you can get away with not doing it, I start setting boundaries around things that interfere with my personal time, but I don't have a hell yeah for. Because it's a lot easier to set a boundary on something that you don't want to do than set a no boundary on something you want to do. I love coaching people. I get incredibly rewarded to see people have the aha moment, live happier and healthier and wealthier. But I have to restrict it, or my health won't be good. I won't have time to work with my coach.
Hmm.
I won't have time to work with my therapist. So find something small that you haven't done before. Maybe the little thing is, being interrupted while you're watching TV, or being interrupted at work during your email time. So a good boundary would be like, I don't really interact with people at work that are interrupting me while I'm working on a project or working on my communication time. And that's a simple boundary. It's going to be real hard to enforce the first time if you've been letting people communicate with you all the time. But start simple. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Boundaries are invisible. People can't see them. And people are also used to stepping over them because that's what they see in the general world and in the media. So I ask you to be compassionate about yourself. Give yourself time to fail because it took me a long time before I stopped working after 7 o'clock at night and working all night long. And I'm healthier, I'm happier, and I get to see my family more and my friends.
Awesome. Now, we could spend hours and hours and hours talking about boundaries, even boundaries in the workplace. We don't have time for that, Hardy.
That's right, we don't. And if you want to work more on boundaries, you can reach out to me at boxofrain.com, or you can reach out to Stan at coachingwithstan.com.au. And we could get you into a coaching program, whether it's group coaching or individual coaching, to help you learn how to set boundaries and everything else that goes along with it. Because choosing the right language is very important. Because if I turned around and I told those women that said, you're dumb, you can't give me the information that you need, I'm not going to go speak. That doesn't help me. That doesn't help the organization. That doesn't help them. When you're doing boundaries, be clear, be concise, and make sure it's about you not willing to engage unless you're in a comfortable situation.
And not caving in, I believe, is one of the big ones. Like you have to hold the boundary, and you have to say, "I'm not doing it" if you're not providing information.
And by holding the boundary, that might mean that you have to say, I'm not doing that 5,000 times. Because my email chain, I had to say that same exact message. I don't know, 7 times. And the other people, some people that were on the thread were like, oh, this guy is crazy. Like, why is he still working with her? And why? Because it's a boundary for me. And I don't need her to go back to my supervisor and say, I dropped the ball. I insulted her. I called her a name. She has nothing against me that she can go back to anybody with and say negatively. So when you're enforcing and you're creating your boundaries, remember, it's not about creating walls. It's about protecting yourself with filters, bumper guards, bubble wrap, whatever you might want to call it. But it's about making a better interaction between people. It's putting you in a place where you can do your best and look your greatest. We're going to wrap it up now because it's just around, time. And this has been a free and open mind podcast where individuals from all walks of life talk about their authentic journey to achieving and maintaining authenticity in their life. And this week we touched on boundaries. Next week, hold on, I got to look it up. I forgot. Next week, the topic, since we're coming up on Valentine's Day in America, is going to be love and everything that goes with it. So
Awesome.
see everybody next Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, where the free and open mind is going to be talking about love. Thank you. Bye.
Hey.